Hello, everybody. It's Graham Coath with another of the Nexstand interviews. And today I'm going to be talking to the wonderful Marisa Toldo. First, before we start, Marisa, I'm just going to bring up a little advert. Okay. And once we've had the advert, I'll come back and talk to you. So here we go.
I need to get going, Mel. I'll see you later.
Right, for anybody who doesn't know who you are, because I think everybody knows who I am by now, just give us a little bit of background on you, Marisa.
Well, I'm Marisa Toldo. I'm the founder of A Space Your Place. I was born in Venezuela, grew up there. My parents are Italian. I'm an architect, and I live already in Barcelona, Spain, and the last 10 years here in Berlin.
Wow. Yeah, fantastic. So you're an architect, but you have other interests as well as architecture as well, don't you?
Yeah, for me, the well-being at the workplace is key, because we spend more time in our work environments than in our own bed sometimes. And having a healthy and inspiring workspace environment is, for me, key and one of my passions.
Is that a little bit of a contradiction for a lot of architects to be interested in the well-being and the health and well-being of the people in offices? Because, and the reason I say that is, and that's very nice of a comment, your hair is incredible.
Thank you.
There you go. But is it because I used to work many years ago, I used to do some office design myself. I wasn't an architect, but I used to do CAD design of office spaces. And one of the things that I often got asked about when I was talking to clients was, how many people can you shove into this space effectively? All right. I mean, that I could think of a nicer way of putting it, but a lot of the time it was like, just how many people can we get in? Because there's a cost involved in terms of floor space and how much that floor space costs. There's other things that you need to get into a room, like storage, etc. as well. You know, there's things that influence that, like fire regulations, etc. And it's something that businesses always struggle with, because ultimately, if the building doesn't accommodate, then they've then got to buy new real estate, or they've got to build a new building, they've got to source a new building, etc. So how much of I suppose a juxtaposition is there, and almost a sort of paradox there as well, between trying to create a space that fits the brief from a client point of view in terms of fiscally, but at the same time, it manages the health and well-being of the people?
Well, now this is a hot topic, and I will tell you in that way. The first cost of an organization is their employees. The second cost is the office space. So we are talking about a lot of money. But my point after COVID is quite clear. We worked 1.5 years or more without an office, but we cannot work without people. So we really need to take care about the well-being of the employees. The employees who feels care, feels healthy, and they are much more productive. They are much more focused. They are much more engaged with the company. If you want to keep your employee, which means save costs on onboarding, recruitment, and tralala, think about the well-being.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned is this open office spaces, which is now an interesting topic because of terms of health also.
Yeah.
But we really need to rethink the way we work. Now I'm really excited because I think we have an amazing opportunity to rethink many things.
Do you think we've got an amazing opportunity to rethink spaces completely now that we've seen some of the advantages, and I think there are disadvantages as well, but some of the advantages of remote working, and we know that systems wise and infrastructure wise it can be done, that we can support people working from wherever? Therefore, do we necessarily need to have our office spaces just replicating the spaces that people work in at home, or can they now be different? Can they actually offer something very different from the spaces where we do that grunt work, if you like, the needing to sit there, do the spreadsheets and whatever, where we can do that at home? Does the office space now offer an opportunity?
Yeah, it's an opportunity, because normally what I ask my client is, why you want the people back at the office? First question. Second question is, why your employees want to be back at the office? Because it's key. And the answer is not to work, because we can work everywhere. So you need to really be smart, and I will tell you that way, how the corporate values support employee needs, and how we can have a sustainable work environment. So how we can balance. Employees want flexibility. Place, time, and choice means flexibility. And flexibility is now like a key point if you want to engage and retain talent. And we really need to think about it. Why we want the office, what for? And now we are starting to see what is coming on the future, but we are talking about metaverse, virtual environments. We really need to think about physical environments and virtual environments also, not just to go to the office and spend a lot of time commuting and wasting CO2.
That's actually a really interesting point that you just raised, that we actually need to think about virtual environments as well. How much do you think architects will get involved in the future, those virtual environments as well? Because let's face it, a lot of virtual environments that we've come to live in or spend time in over the pandemic have actually been really quite dull. Yeah. Do we actually need architects that actually understand physical space to actually go into the digital space as well, to help us to be navigating, so we're not spending necessarily just all of our time in Zoom with little boxes, or even like we are now in a little box, but actually maybe have more of a physical experience even when we're online?
I was talking with some companies in Switzerland, and they are building amazing things for the meeting environments online, because the problem is we really need to make clear that virtual offices are coming, even we want it or not, but it's the reality. And the next 5-10 years are going to be exciting about, and I always say we are humans, we have a body. Even though we work virtually, we need to have a space to work. We still have a body. We still are mammals. So we need to fix the place we work in a beautiful, healthy, and inspiring way. And a lot of changes are coming. Facility managers already know that. Human resources already know that. And it's amazing what we are going to face, because now people can work everywhere. You can be in Canary Island, in Costa Rica, in Australia, and we can work. This morning I had a call with Australia. At 10 I had a call with Amsterdam. Tonight I will have a call with America. And this is the way we work. And the younger generations are more clear about that than older generations. And we really need to make that clear, that we really need to face this amazing new way of work.
I just have to stop for 2 seconds to say, basically, I wish I could say Costa Rica the way you do. That was wonderful. Can you just say it again for me, just so I have that?
Sí, Costa Rica.
Oh, you see, just sounds so much better. I want to talk about neck pain in particular, because as we've moved from working in offices to working anywhere, one of the things that's become a problem has been that people do not necessarily have a set workspace setup. Now, in the office, that's often been thought about and accommodated. You know, proper monitors, big monitors, properly sized, maybe you know, monitor arm off the back of the desk, etc. But as we begin to work anywhere, you know, how do we bring that sense of the workstation everywhere? Now, you asked a really interesting question when we were talking about this before this, and you said, have you thought about asking Google how many talk about how many problems you can find with regarding neck pain? It's an amazing Google search to do. So if you put neck pain affecting into Google, yeah, the list. So just some of the things, and then let's maybe go through them. Affecting vision, ear, shoulder, breathing, arm, hearing, jaw, throat, balance, voice. All these things come up if you put neck pain affecting into Google. Why did you why did you ask me to put that? Because it's fascinating.
Because it's the first thing. So normally I research everything. I live in Germany, you know, and in Germany you need to have data to face everything. And I realized that I became a little bit German that way, because if first I open my mouth, I do a little bit of research. And the easy research you do is just you Google it. No, you can use another searcher, but Google is the biggest one. And if you say, you're right, neck pain, and it's amazing. And sometimes we don't realize. And if you see the people who work at the office, I guess 55% have a neck pain. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's huge.
It's huge. And well, I always used to say the neck is the highway of everything.
Yeah, explain that term to me. The neck is the highway. What do you mean by that?
If you want to connect your brain with your body, which is the tunnel or the highway, the neck.
Yeah.
We have,
that's true.
if you want to do another Google research and have fun, you write vagus nerve and highway, and you will be like surprised about what you get. So neck is a huge important thing, and we sometimes don't realize that. We really need to take care.
I actually saw, even this morning, there was some quite good advice being given by some posture experts on LinkedIn about tension headaches. And of course, it all comes from here, but it's not just about pain necessarily. It's also about productivity, isn't it? Because ultimately, if we're adopting postures, if we're adopting positions whereby the head isn't in the right place, our shoulders go forward, we start to restrict our breathing, and we start to restrict, ultimately, we start to restrict the amount of oxygen that's going to the brain. And it's amazing how many people turn to things like coffee. I bring this subject up loads of times in different talks, but it's amazing how people sort of suddenly go, well, you know the answer, man. What you need to do is you need to drink some coffee in the middle of the day. That will really kind of perk you up. But actually, it's not. The reason that you're starting to feel sleepy, the reason you're starting to feel tired, is actually because you haven't got oxygen going to your brain. This is right, yeah?
The first thing you do when you're born is breathe, and it's the last thing you do before dying. You know, we born breathing, and we stop breathing, and then we die. Breathing is such an important thing, and when we are having this posture, it's not just about the neck pain, and we are going to talk about how heavy this beautiful thing is, but also you need to open your shoulders first, breathe, and relax your shoulders, you know, because we realize, no, I'm working really with ease, I'm so relaxed, and you are killing yourself. And then if you breathe proper, you have a lot of amount of oxygen. You want to have a happy brain, you need oxygen. Your brain cells need to have food. The best food you can give them is oxygen.
Yeah.
And half an hour of exercise make a boost in your hippocampus. If you need to be productive, if you need to be focused, if you need to be healthy, you need to breathe and move. This is the key. Sitting 8, 9 hours working is not productive at all. When I hear people, no, I just bring my coffee to the table and everything, so I cannot move. I say, like, are you killing yourself? You need to move. You need to take a break and move. Movement is so necessary for fresh brain cells.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also when you move, you use quite often the other side of your brain as well. I think people forget that our brains have two sides to them, and actually they have different functionality. So actually, the amount of times I've seen people and they stagnate in front of a computer and they think that they're being really productive by just being there, being present. But actually what's happening is they get to a point where the one side of the brain just goes, and that's it. You know, a bit like when your Zoom freezes or your stream freezes midway and you're like, you know.
Yeah.
And if you do time and motion studies with people, sometimes it's really quite interesting just to see just how much someone is actually working at a particular time. I mean, we can all start off really going at it, really involved in the problem, but then we might get to a point where we're just like, and all we're doing is staring at the screen, waiting for that cognition to really kick in. Now, if we actually get up from the desk and we move across the room, and we have to then use the other side of our brain, which isn't actually focusing on those kind of tasks. What it's now doing is focusing on actually getting us walking and stopping us from spilling the drink that we're going to carry back to the desk or whatever else. You know, it's focusing on things like balance, coordination, etc. That uses the other side of the brain, and that release that happens on the other side of the brain when that happens suddenly gives it some, it's almost like energy, gives it energy to actually start to think about the problem outside the box, you know.
Yeah,
and that's immeasurable what that can do.
And not just move. If I'm I'm Caribbean born, I like to dance. Sometimes I just stop and I dance because movement, music, it's amazing. It makes you feel better. It's a boost of hormones, breathing, movement, and these 2 minutes that you are out of your officially task is like a boom for your brain. So try. You are if you are working at home or working alone at the office, try to do some movements and dancing. It's one of the points that people recommend to prevent dementia is to dance because you involve many things in your body and movement. And if it's that help for dementia, think about how can help in your productivity and in your focus. Just give it a try.
I'm there. I'm going to be doing it. You know, not necessarily going to show anybody what I'm doing, but I definitely will try. You mentioned the weight of the head. I think it's quite shocking when people find out just how much the head weighs. How much what does a head weigh typically?
Normally, it's like I have the official number here, around 5 kilos. But the problem is not how much it weighs here in a neutral position, it's
Right.
how much weight. Every time you are doing this, thanks gravity, it's getting heavier. And with 45 degrees, can get even to 22 kilos.
Right.
So a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So the weight of the head, as you say, with gravity, pulling it forward onto the neck, the actual weight loading on the cervical spine, the top of the neck, actually then sort of goes to about 4 times the amount, which is quite something. So not only are you pulling on the muscles within the neck and the back, not only are you putting strain on the the cervical spine itself, and therefore obviously the discs in the cervical spine, which is why some people get a creaky neck, etc. But you're also encouraging your body to slouch, because how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with that neck position? You're going to allow your body to move from the lower back in order to compensate it. And typically what I used to find, and I don't know whether you can back this up, but what I used to find when I was doing workplace assessments is two things happen. One is that either people then lean onto the desk for support because they're trying to use their arms, etc., to support that head forward position, or they realize that this isn't working, and so actually they completely flip that. So they then slouch. So they go back into the chair, they slouch their pelvis forward, the neck and shoulders open up, but back in the chair. But the then problem is the lower spine, because the lower spine is now slouched, and actually there's now pressure on the lower spine. Hence why people commonly would have neck problems, but they will also have lower back problems as well.
Yeah, for that reason, posture is so important. And for that reason, we really need to be aware, because if you talk with people, they sit badly, but they don't realize, because you get used to. And for me, it's a way to think, okay, I'm paying attention to my body, how I'm sitting. See yourself, because we are living longer, which means we just have a body. We cannot, until now, we cannot replace like a battery of your cell phone. You cannot replace your shoulders. You cannot replace your neck. Yeah. And we are going to live longer. And when you are young, you don't care. But as you became wisdom, you you really need to care. And sometimes we don't realize that we have a bad posture until we have a pain. And when we already have a pain, it's because means sick leaves, costing reductions and costing physiotherapy and everything. And with a little bit of prevention and movement can be avoided. So we really need to think to have a good equipment and be attentive, be aware, and check your body time to time. Move, sit again, and check how I'm sitting, where is the height, how far away it is. I'm feeling comfortable. I'm sitting that way or that way, because it's amazing, but we don't realize that. And it's an exercise itself, paying attention to your body and your posture.
Yeah, and I don't think people really do think enough about their posture. They don't necessarily, or they think that it's going to be sorted for them by something else being there. And to a certain extent, adjustments can obviously help with that. And you know, when we talk about, and we'll talk about this in a minute, when we talk about certain equipment like laptop stands, etc. But you know, just because you've got a good chair, for example, or you've got a good sit-stand workstation, etc., it doesn't mean to say you shouldn't be aware of your posture. You can't just expect the equipment to you know, hold you in the right place, etc. And it's a typical, I'd say it's a typical British problem. Maybe you could say you could give us a steer on Germany as well. You know, it's a difficult thing, but for me, a lot of people over here, when they get something that's adjustable, they use the adjustment in it to adjust it and then lock it. Whether it's a chair, whether it's a desk, whether it's a stand or whatever, they think, oh, good, it's adjustable. They adjust it once, they get it into a position, and then they go, right, that's me sorted. And actually, they don't want people to touch it, because they're like, no, I'm adjusted now. I'm adjusted. I'm right now. It's actually totally the wrong thing. What they should be doing is almost constantly adjusting, going, well, you know, at this part of the day, I need more help there. Now, actually, you know, I need to move that. I need to have that a little bit lower or a little bit higher. Maybe I'll perch now. Maybe I'll stand for a bit. Perch, sit, stand, move. Not just right, I'm comfortable now, and now I'm going to lock myself in. I used to see people looking at those posters of people sitting at a right angle, the reference posture for sort of fitting to ergonomics, and people would say to me, but I've been sat like that all the time and I'm getting backache. You go, yeah, because that's how you're sitting. That's a reference posture for fit. It's not you should sit like this all the time and not move. No. You should move.
While sitting also, it's called, how it's called in English, it's active sitting, called in English.
Active sitting, yes.
Active sitting. And for me, what you say, it's really funny because first, I see a lot of people investing in equipment, but when I ask them, did you regulate the equipment for you? No. I say, well, the instructions, you need to read it, basically.
Yeah.
So it's not just coming to your place, because I'm working with majority people who's working from home, but also to adapt the thing as your body. So check it. You need to read the things. Maybe I know it's boring, but buy the thing you like with a good quality, a good standard, and then read the instructions and adapt it. And one exercise I like to do is during the weekend, I take out everything on my desk. And on Monday, I set up things again, because it's like a refresh from the week. And sometimes because you get used to the things, and when you get used, you stop think about it. Yeah. I do small changes just because I want to keep my beautiful brain aware, active. If not, you're like, okay, this is here in automatic mode. And I don't want to be in automatic, because it's easy to tend, and more that we are going to face the beautiful winter in North Europe. And we really need to keep these kind of things to make us be a little bit, I'm aware, I'm awake, I like to do that in a really funny, playful way, because it's a way also to have fun. And for me, having fun is also a main point. Being Venezuelan, I need to have fun somehow.
And that's important, absolutely. I really love this point that's been made. We're told not to touch our chairs by our OC health person. I've had it each time I was pregnant. The standard of care out there is poor. Yeah, the standard of understanding is poor, is what I would say. To not understand the equipment that has been built specifically with dynamic support in it. Good mechanisms on a chair, for example, enable you to move, supporting your body weight. There's one of the things on the chair that a lot of people don't understand. There's something called a weight tension adjuster on the chair, right? Why? I've often asked this question over years. Why, if there's a weight tension adjuster on a chair, would you lock it? Right? Because surely the whole purpose of something being adjusted to your weight expects you to move in the chair. Yeah. So that actually the chair is not falling back too quickly when you move. It's not pushing you too much, but it's literally moving just right with your body weight. Oh, interesting. No, there's not. Well, there are in a lot of chairs.
Depends on the chair.
It absolutely depends on the chair. But what I'm saying, and thanks for that comment, Steve, but what I'm saying is, if there is that adjustment in the chair, why would that adjustment be put there? The adjustment would be put there in order for you to actually achieve dynamic movement. Yeah. So it's and there are people that do need a chair to be in a more static position because of the condition that they have. But generally, for most of us, with a decent, with a relatively healthy skeleton and a relatively healthy body, we actually do need that movement in the way that we work. We are not designed to sit still.
No, and if our chair doesn't have it, move, stand, move, 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 move a lot. I will never stop saying move. It's so important. Stand up, move. If your chair is not the best ergonomic chair that you can have, then move. Move a lot. This is the key. You need to move. You cannot stand, you cannot sit 8 hours in your chair, because it's not just the time you sit on your workstation, it's the time you sit commuting, it's the time you sit eating, it's the time you sit in couchistan. So, you know, when you watch the TV or something, we spend too much time sitting. So please, if you don't have the most fancy ergonomical chair, move. Stand up, move, go to the bathroom, go to make a coffee, go to have a round on the block, and you have a fresh air outside of the building if you are allowed to. I hope so, because we hear many things, and sometimes I'm really like, really? You work in the jail or you work in an office? But yeah. So please move. And more now that we are going to face winter, go out, get fresh air, and go and get a little bit of natural light.
Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you, you wanted to talk a little bit about video calls, because we're all doing it, and you gave me a little bit of information about James Whale, director of the original 1931 Frankenstein movie. Where does that fit into video calls?
But when we were doing our one-to-one Zoom calls blog, it was so funny because we were talking about directors, so movie directors, and the way how they put the camera to make some, to explore some feelings. And what happened with the Frankenstein, that was the movie, the director put the camera so that you were facing and look at the people that way, you know, in order you to feel smaller and to scare. So we have been working on Zoom and video calls since almost 2 years, but I still see many people, and this is also because they don't have a correct position with the computer or their laptop, talking to you like you. And if you want to build a trust situation, if you want to people feel comfortable, look eye level. It's so easy nowadays, you know. And we had a lot of fun doing this blog because it was really, really funny with the Frankenstein, like the camera perspective with this director in the 1931 with the first Frankenstein was to have this scary feeling for the viewers, and it's incredible how impact. So if you have a correct laptop standard and everything, you should have the view on your eye level, the camera and your eye level, and will make everything more easy for you, for the people you talk to. And yeah, they are not going to feel like a scare. It's more a way to build, you know, trust, comfort. You're looking at people in the eye level.
That's really interesting. I never thought about it from that perspective. So not only if you've got a laptop stand, for example, that you're using that has gives you the right level, so that actually you're maintaining that posture, that bit that we were talking about a minute ago, but it actually gives you that kind of proper eye level and allows you to sit more comfortably and in a slightly more relaxed way when you're talking to someone. It actually helps in terms of those conversations from a business perspective as well. You're not dominating. You're not dominating in terms of your position, but neither are you. You know, you sort of down there somewhere looking submissive as well. It's a straight on relationship, which is actually what you need in terms of proper discussion and proper negotiation, etc. as well. So not only can, you know, getting the right equipment help with posture, what you're saying is it can also help in terms of that positioning, in terms of relating to the person on the other end, which is great for business, which is great for productivity, which is great for all of those things as well. So therefore, there's a lot of people that actually don't have the right equipment. And I think during the pandemic, we've seen a lot of people, and I'd love your perspective on this, who have actually just gone out and bought the first thing that they can possibly lay their hands on. And that's understandable because it was kind of suddenly now we're moving to working from home. We've just had to grab everything from the office, get it there, etc. Are we now reaching a point where people now, having had the experience of working from home for some time, or working in a hybrid way, so partly in the office or partly here, there, and everywhere, are we now needing to stop and rethink the choices we perhaps made, and beginning to think about we may need to upgrade into something that's the right thing for the long term?
Of course, for me, I don't like, we a year and a half ago, we were in a panicus modus, and we did many choices in like a panicking, but working from home, working from everywhere. They came and they are going to stay. It's not this is let's wait and go back to 9 to 5 office. No, forget it. This is gone. We need to face and look forward. And for me, having a good equipment is also a way to enjoy the way you work. Also, you have a good provider, you have a good quality. When you have a good product, you buy it once. You don't need to buy like each 2 years something, or once per year, like, well, it's broken. You buy a product with some quality, with some ethics behind, and with many things. So I was thinking of you this morning because I was in my co-working space, and you remember we were talking about the laptop position on the fingers and the people doing that. I had a gentleman in front of me doing that, and I was thinking, I said, no, should I tell him that it's not the way, because if not, he's going to have a kaput here. I don't know how to say that in English.
Carpal tunnel.
Yeah, and we were talking about that the other day, how good design can improve the posture and the benefits. So I'm totally agree. It's time to upgrade and recheck and rethink what we have. And yeah, we spend many hours in our working environment. Why not allow us to be comfortable and happy with the choice we do?
What you're talking about there is that and I think we've all seen them, that there are products there on the market that literally that they just lift the back of the laptop off the desk a minute amount, and actually the front edge of the laptop will literally be virtually touching the desk again. Yeah, and neither is that actually lifting, going back to our early part of the conversation, neither is that lifting the posture significantly enough in order for the head and neck position and the shoulder position to be right. But at the same time, it's also potentially creating an additional problem in that the keying position is with flexion of the wrist. And actually, that's worse than it was before, where the keyboard was flat. So not only are you not helping your neck, you're actually potentially creating another condition which could become a tendonitis, etc.
Yeah.
So there's lots for people to do, really.
Yeah.
And I think it's incredibly fascinating coming from someone that's an architect, who you would assume would want everybody to get back to the office so that you can be designing offices and making money out of designing offices and getting people there. So just to finish on, how much has your work changed over this period?
When I started to work from home in 2006, when I was living in Barcelona, and when I moved to Berlin in 2010, I saw how my friends, they start to work from home, and creativity have no limits, and I was scared, and I started to help them, because for me, the working environment, it must be seen in a holistic way. It's not just a fancy office, but who is going to sit there? People, human beings, and each human being have a different needs and realities. And to be honest, offices, they really need to be rethink. And I believe you need to have a beautiful also setup and comfortable and healthy setup working from home. So one of my main wishes is everyone to have a healthy work environment. from home, at the office, or in the third space, which can be co-working spaces or working from everywhere you want. And I know what you say, but it's so funny because sometimes I tell people, I'm an architect, but I will not charge you on square. I will not throw out the walls. It's not the time. It's the time to really rethink, because just building for building is a waste of money, energy, time, and affect the sustainability. We really need to really think about what we are doing on the planet, and if we really need to just rebuild, throw that way. And for me, the discussion should be more serious, more deep, more really, okay, now we have the time. We can wait to build things. And we need to be clear. People want flexibility. People want to be trust. People want to be here.
Yeah.
And people want to deliver their best in their own conditions. So working from home is one of the best conditions to allow people to deal with that. It's also if you have kids, or if you have parents, who are you caring about? It's many factors involved in the working from home or office situation, and now we are facing this topic more than ever.
Do you very quickly? Do you feel that there's room for some of the architects that have been more commercial architects to move a little bit across into home architecture a little bit more? Because I would have thought going forward there's going to be more of a blending there as well. I could, surely we actually what we need as part of this is we need more homes where the commercial need for working from home is considered a bit more. And typically a sort of off-the-shelf house designer might not necessarily know what's necessary in terms of those commercial elements or those work elements of designing the home. Surely, in a way, a lot of us, what we need now are houses that also have an office, but properly designed.
We need that. And if it happened in London, it happened in Milan, it happened in the New York, in San Francisco, all the city centers went desert. People went to the periphery because they need a better life quality. Well, the people who could afford that. The prices in the suburbs, they haven't been down. They're still going up and up and up. What does it mean? We are rethinking the way we live. We are rethinking what well-being means to us. We are rethinking many things, and working environments at home need to be think and design and be and should be done with a lot of care and awareness, because we also need to separate working time than private time, which is so necessary. What we saw during the pandemic is people working like 14 hours per day and not be able to have this separation. And this separation is so necessary, not just for your mental well-being, also for your productivity. If you work 14 hours per day, how long you can work? 2-3 months that way? And then what? You want to be productive, you want to be engaged, separate your life,
so
work.
What you're saying is this can't just be done by the purchase of furniture. Really, it can't just be done where you can go, oh, do you know what? You can buy this, this, and this, and stick it into the corner of an existing bedroom, or this space, this spare bedroom gets turned into an office here, because in a way, if it's in the wrong space in the home, and it's too integral to the home, the space, that cognitive space, doesn't get created. So a good architect could actually look at it and help redesign the home properly so that the office space feels and has a separate area. It takes you, cognitively out and cerebrally out of the home part of the space and into the office space and then back again.
It's really necessary. And the other point is each of us have different channels. Some people are more auditive, some people are more visual, some people are more kinesthetic. Is this work environment fitting your needs? Because if we are going to work from home, use it as an advantage, personalize it, make it healthy, make it for you. Space talks, space affects. Do you have some plans? How often? So how is the lighting? No, really. Since I left, when I arrived to Berlin, I thought I need plants. So the component of biophilic design also helps a lot. I have enough light in this space.
Yeah.
Where is the light coming? Where should I put my desk? Did I open my window to ventilate? Because some people don't realize that, say, open fresh air, fresh brain. And also I have enough space to move around, or I'm just sitting vacuum packing my desk, So some work regulations are blurred at home. And for me, it's also people really need to rethink. We make a lot of noise when we do phone calls and conference. It's people living around. We disturb the people, or the people disturb us. What equipment we bought? We bought the cheapest one, and then it's really noisy, and we cannot concentrate because we have like things. These kind of things are, for me, it's not just put the desk there and I will get a chair. I don't care. No, it's many things. It should be, well, I see that in a really holistic way, and I'm quite passionate about. So if you allow me, I can talk the whole day about that.
Well, I'm sure we could, but we ought to end it there. Marisa, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think we've opened up some really interesting conversations, and hopefully, as this goes round on the social media platform over the next week or so, other people are going to comment, and I'll keep you abreast of those comments as they come in. But hopefully this has been helpful information to a lot of people. If you want to get in touch with Marisa, you can do. If she's on LinkedIn, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, I don't know, are you on Twitter as well or not?
Not Twitter, but Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Okay, fantastic. So for all of you that are out there in Twitterland, you're going to have to hop onto one of the other platforms in order to find Marisa.
Yeah.
But
I have an account, but I haven't cared about the account. Sorry.
That's all right. No problem. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thanks so much for your time. Bye.
No, thank you for inviting me. It was really, really fun, and I hope that's somehow helpful for the rest of the people.
Lovely. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.